Hey everyone, it's Synth Designer back again with another video. Today we're going to be continuing our series on sound design basics. We're talking about Arps. Now Arps stand for Arpeggios, which are essentially chords played one note at a time. You may have heard this term before. It's pretty much in every style of electronic music. It's found in all sorts of different ways. You can find it in like faster music, slower music. It could be really kind of drowned out. It could be super plucky. There's tons of ways of creating Arps. Today I want to show you a couple of things to know about them and just getting the basics down so you can start creating them yourself. If you're new to the channel, check out my other videos on sound design basics, especially if you're a beginner. You'll find a lot of different helpful tips. I go through all the different types of wavetables and just lots of sound design basics. If you're interested in Serum presets, go to my website at synthdesigner.com. There's tons of Serum presets there for free, also some Vital presets. And you can also join my Patreon page where I give away about 10 to 15 Serum presets from all different types of genres each month for only a couple bucks. Anyway, let's get right into this video. So as you can see actually here, I have Keyzone Classic. I'll start off with just a basic piano. What we're going to do is create some chords, and then from those chords, we're going to create Arps. Now, we're not going to use the piano as the main sound source, but what we're going to do is just use the piano just because I find it sometimes easier just to come up with some ideas with a basic piano. I'm using Keyzone Classic here. This is a free plugin. It's really nice sounding, I think. Especially if you're in FL Studio and used to kind of FL keys, this is a nice upgrade and it costs you nothing. Anyway, let's take a look at this pattern I have here. It's a very super basic pattern. Got some inversions here, but we're not going to do too much with it because the idea is I'm going to show you a very easy method of creating Arps. So as you can see here, it's in the key of F major, a couple of different chords here that switch around, and then it's not really important about the theory here. What's more important is how we create Arps from this. So Arps tend to be like a complement to main sound. So you have to kind of develop your main chords first, then you could form the Arps. Without the chords, you won't be able to come up with the proper Arps. I mean, you can, but it's a lot more difficult, and I'll show you why. So having these notes here, we could create Arps just from these without doing anything else. So let's just play this pattern real quick. Okay, it's super basic, but we're trying to get some of the basics down first, so let's not get into complicated seventh chords or other types of jazzy chords. Let's just make it super simple to start with. So the first thing we'll do here, obviously we have our chords set already. It really doesn't matter what the chords are, but the easiest thing to do is just in FL Studio, you click Alt-A, and then you have an automatically generated arpeggiator. The great thing is here, it just takes these notes, plays them one at a time, and here we'll listen to it, how it sounds and the speed, and then we'll kind of mess things around as we go too. Okay, so there we go. Let's just go back, and then what we can do is change it up on the fly as well. We can make it slower here like this. So in this situation, it kind of stretches the time based on its algorithm, and sometimes it won't work perfectly. Generally speaking, if you have kind of like this standard setting here, it works nice. After this, it gets way too fast. Doesn't sound very nice. So one of these two settings, it kind of depends on what you're trying to go for. This is more of an up-tempo type of thing, so it works nicely. But obviously, this is kind of just a boring piano. It doesn't really give us much. If we want to create more like kind of a dance music or EDM type of thing, we're going to have to do a little bit more. So what we'll do is just reset, go back to our original chords here. And what I'll do is, now that I have some solid chords, I can open up Serum right over top of Keyzone Classic or any other VST synth that you want, your preferred one. And what we'll do is just lay down some basic chords and then put in our pattern. So I have the basic pattern here. Let's just listen to it now with this basic saw wave here. I'll open this back up. Nothing fancy here, but next thing we do is go back into our pattern. What we'll do is just quick copy, open up a new pattern, and open up a new instance of whatever synth or VST you're using. Copy and paste, and remember now we have that trick set where we just create the arpeggiator. In FL Studio it's Alt-A. You can do it in any other DAW. They all have an arpeggiator setting. So what we're going to do here is just accept these settings for now, and then we're going to shape the sound as we go. So right now it's going to be a buzzy saw wave. Let's see. Once we put it into the pattern, let's see how it sounds together. So pretty boring, but we're getting kind of an idea of how it works, right? It's adding that kind of rhythmic dimension that the chord doesn't have. So the chord is the foundation, while the arp is adding that rhythmic, oftentimes a background type of sound. So what I'm going to do is, I'm actually just going to open up one of my presets. And again, if you want to download this preset here, you could go to synthdesigner.com and download them for free. Absolutely nothing. Let's see if we can pick something. That sounds kind of interesting. Let's see how that sounds. It's not exactly the sound I'm going for here. So the important thing with arps is that they're individual short notes. So we're going to have to look for a pluck. If we had a sustained sound with it, it would sound very, very drowned out, and it wouldn't complement the pad that we have, and instead it would just kind of drown, they would both drown out essentially. So what we're going to do is let's pick made for arps maybe. This should work because it's made for arps. So this one has a bit of an attack on it, right? And it has that kind of like almost brassy sound to it, and that can work. We can also pick something else, maybe a little bit, something with a little bit of a faster attack. Here we go. Has kind of almost a 90s type of feel to it. Now this is in Synthwave Essentials Volume 4. This will be coming out in a little bit. It's not quite out yet, but if you look closely, you could copy some of these parameters here. I'm not going to get too mad about that. But what we want to do maybe is kind of brush it off a little bit to the background, because arps tend not to be the focal point of the song, right? Right now, this is a lead sound here, which is great if you're trying to make it like your main melody, but an arp isn't going to be your main melody. It's supposed to complement the rhythmic elements of the song rather than the kind of melodic, if you think about it. So let's just play this and maybe up the reverb a little bit. So now we have something quite different. The reverb is really pushing it to the back. Now, if you have headphones on, or if you have a really good ear, you'll be able to really kind of tell the perceptual aspects of this. It's really pushing it to the back, and now it's really kind of complementing that pad without being it too much in our face, right? Now let's just maybe put a simple kick here, and we're kind of getting towards a song here, maybe an opening, something kind of coming up, right? Okay, so now we have our drum pattern in here. Let's just play it again. And as you can imagine, like something's going to kick in here now, something, maybe a lead sound, some big drums coming in. You could just imagine that type of thing. And this is just a basic kind of way of adding some interesting rhythmic element to complement your sound. And that's what arps do. They are that kind of plucky. Sometimes you can have a little bit more of an attack, so they're kind of a little bit softer, let's say. And that's kind of in chill wave music, you'll hear that a lot. But in a lot of instances, we just want that basic pluck, right? Just to complement the main chords. And I know I've said that a bunch, but that's what it's for. So hopefully you're getting an understanding of kind of a simple idea of how to use arps. Now, there's a lot of ways to create them. You don't have to be limited by just the chords. Play around, maybe switch them up, but keeping them just within your chords or whatever chords you have really is an effective way of creating arps, because you're never going to be off key, obviously. They're going to be simple and they're going to complement those chords perfectly. So I hope you kind of get a basic understanding here of arps, how to use them. And if you want to learn more about arps, let me know down in the comments. I have lots of other ideas I can show you. Again, if you're new to sound design, check out my Sound Design Basics playlist. I'll see you guys next time.